So, good evening, good evening, good evening. We are back again. We are going to talk about Roman Abramovich and Chelsea. They're in a bit of bother. FFP, alleged offshore accounts and payments have been leaked. Wow, how convenient that they leaked after he's left. But we are going to get into all of that. Make sure you are smashing the like button into the moon. That'd be great. We're on 21,214 subs as well. So let's get that up to 21.5k. That would be unreal. I hope you're not all bored. In fact, we've just gone up one as I did that. I hope you're not all bored in this international break. And if you are, I'll be uploading every day during it. And then when the football's back, the proper football, because international football ain't it, especially this international break, there's not a single decent game on. Then obviously I'll be doing some watch-alongs again as well. But yeah, make sure you are leaving your comments and donations down below as well. I'm going to read this whole article off of the Guardian website. And listen, it's probably about a 9-minute read. So bear with me. And then we'll go through it at the end. So let's get into it. Obviously, this broke this morning, this news. And I thought, wait. Let me just chill for the day. It's a beautiful day. It's 26 degrees outside. We have my little afternoon nap as well, and we're back. But Chelsea face new questions over how Roman Abramovich funded success. Leaked files reveal secret payments that may have breached football's strict financial fair play rules. Key word here being may have breached. Well, anyway, Chelsea FC face fresh questions over how its former owner Roman Abramovich funded the club's success. After files revealed a string of secret payments that may have breached the footballing rules, including those of financial fair play. Experts said the transactions uncovered through a joint investigation by The Guardian and international partners could lead to the Premier League imposing punishments on Chelsea, such as a deduction of points. Again, may. It's all very wishy-washy, isn't it? But there we go, we'll continue. The files reveal a series of payments worth tens of millions of pounds over a decade, routed through offshore vehicles belonging to Abramovich. The transactions in question appear to have been for Chelsea's benefit, raising questions about whether they were declared in accounts submitted to the football's governing body. Again, this article doesn't have Chelsea's accounts. So beneficiaries appear to include the agent of star player Eden Hazard, an associate of the title-winning manager Antonio Conte, and Chelsea FC officials. Other payments appear to have been connected to the purchase of players like William and Samuel Eto'o. The payments have come to light thanks to international investigation known as the Cyprus Confidential, a catch of the 6.3 million offshore records leaked to the international consortium of investigative journalists. Try saying that when you've not had a suave yet. Cheers, guys. And Germany's paper Trail Media, which shared access with The Guardian, the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, and other media. Chelsea's finances has already been examined by the Premier League in an investigation that runs from 2012 to 2019 after the West London's club new ownership regime voluntarily reported that incomplete financial information had been submitted during Abramovich's tenure. The Football Association confirmed to The Guardian that it is also investigating Chelsea, while UEFA, the governing body of European football, has already fined the club 8.6 million over the admission, although its powers are limited because it can only look at evidence going back 3 years. Now, documents dated during the outside of the period under scrutiny raised fresh questions over whether Abramovich repeatedly flouted the rules of football to benefit Chelsea as the club ascended into the pinnacle of the global game. Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea for 140 million quid in 2003 and quickly flooded the club with cash in a relentless push for success, which obviously worked because they've won everything. But anyway, the Roman Empire, as some fans dubbed it, only fell when Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine led to Abramovich being placed under sanctions by the UK, ultimately forcing him to sell. Files analysed by The Guardian and TBIJ as part of the Cyprus confidential investigation shed light on the apparently hidden payments linked to a pivotal movements in that trophy-laden tenure. The material, which comes from the Cypriot offshore service provider called Merit Service, was shared with the ICIJ by a non-profit group distributed denial of secrets. This is all a little bit cloak and dagger and underhand and back. Whoa, what's going on here? On the 18th of July 2017, the files show an Abramovich-owned company called Conibear Holdings, based in the British Virgin Islands, signed an agreement with Federico Pastorello, an Italian football agent. The Italian has been described in multiple reports as being close to Antonio Conte, the former Chelsea manager, and has spoken about the manager's contract negotiations in the media. Conibear agreed to pay Pastorello £10 million for 75% stake in Excellence Investment Fund, EIF, a business based in the US state of Delaware, documents suggest. That same day, Chelsea announced that Conte, who had just guided the club to a Premier League title, had just signed a $9.6 million a year contract. Hey, this is mad. Pastorello declined to comment on whether the two deals were linked and said, Conte is not our client. During Conte's title-winning season, Eden Hazard scored 16 goals, a high point in a glittering 7-year spell that included him captaining the club and winning 6 domestic and European trophies. Hazard joined for $35 million in 2012 in a marquee signing that followed fraught negotiations with the player's agent, John Biko Panake. Probably ruined that guy's name. I don't care. Anyway, who reportedly wanted a sizable commission worth around $6 million. On March 2013, documents suggest BVI-based Leston Holdings, owned by Abramovich, agreed to pay $7 million to a Dubai-based company called Gulf Value FZE for advisory services related to sport research and consultancy. The contract was signed on the company's behalf by, you've guessed it, Biko Panake. And it is unclear whether the payment was declared to the footballing authorities, including FA and Biko Panake did not return requests for comment. On another occasion, Leston paid $1 million to Association de Juenes Espores de Bobo and the former club of Bertrand Traore via contract signed by Traore's brother David. The contract is dated 2 months after the fullback signed for Chelsea. Oh dear. The file also revealed at least $7 million in payments made between 2005 and 2017 to companies linked to Zoran and Vladimir Lemic. The latter is a key advisor to Abramovich and was reportedly a pivotal figure in the arrival of such stars like Arjen Robben, Branislav Ivanovic and Nemanja Matic, and double-winning coach Carlo Ancelotti. That is Don Carlito to you. Great manager. Separate documents show 250 million payments to the former sporting director, Frank Arneson. Arneson told The Guardian he would usually have expected the payment, a discretionary bonus, to have come from Chelsea rather than another company, but was unaware of any rule breaches and had declared it for tax purposes. 4 leading sports lawyers told The Guardian that some of the payments may have broken the rules, including the Premier League and financial fair play. FFP was introduced at the start of the 11-12 season, with similar restrictions adopted 2 years later by the Premier League. The measures are partly aimed at preventing reckless spending that might put clubs' futures in risk. But the rules, have been adapted in response to a trend of wealthy benefactors, including Abramovich and nation states such as Qatar and UAE, pouring in their own cash to the clubs to buy success. That's the aim of the game, though, isn't it? Buying trophies, putting as much money in to be successful. I don't know. Maybe this report doesn't want trophies. Anyway, in a practice, financial doping was the term used by former manager of Arsenal. Oh yes. Why did you look at me? Why'd you look at me? Yeah, let's not talk about financial doping, Arsene. Let's check your bank balance. Anyway, we move on. Samuel Cuthbert, a sports barrister at Outer Temple Chamber, said, if a club were to hide outgoings by paying those sums through other entities, it is conceivable that they could be in breach of FFP. could be in breach. You would effectively be circumventing your regulatory requirements, which limit your ability to spend and spending instead through an offshore company. Any opportunity to gain an unfair advantage skews the competition in favour of a particular club and undermines the integrity of football on a fundamental, principled level. Okay, good one. Really? Okay, cool. Anyway, let's carry on, people. Let's carry on. They also said some of the transactions may have broken the rules of FFP and require submission of accurate accounts. Other provisional demanding that the clubs act in good faith, and the Football Association's rules requiring disclosure of payments to agents. Football financial expert Kieran Maguire, the author of Prize of Football, said Chelsea's huge spending meant that the club had habitually flirted with the hard limits of financial losses. If there is any proof that the club has used a third party for transactions to circumvent and profitability and sustainability rules, then sanctions could be either financial or a points deduction. The latter is more likely, as any commission investigating the club's circumstances will want to put out a deterrent to stop others repeating such behaviour. Let's carry on. Smash these likes up, guys. You can do it, guys. Clive Betts MP, the chair of the all-party parliamentary group on football, said FFP, one of the key issues for the new independent football regulatory being set up by the UK government. It's no use having FFP rules if you don't enforce them. Otherwise, they're a smokescreen for clubs spending as much as they want. Well, people are breaking these rules left, right, and centre because let's be real, if you're a multi-billionaire and you run a business, i.e. a football club, you are going to find a way around it. You've only got to have a look at Todd Bowley, strapping people up on 8-year contracts, found a way around FFP real quick soon as he got it, and he doesn't know anything about football. Anyway, the files also suggest that Abramovich secretly bankrolled efforts to overturn FFP rules through courts and was ultimately unsuccessful. In February 14, Abramovich's Leston Holdings agreed to pay $100,000 to a lawyer named Jean-Louis Dupont, who was challenging the legality and validity of FFP before the European Commission. Leston which is understood to have been acting on Chelsea's behalf, had a business interest in the outcome of the case, and the contract shows that. It then continues on. The company owned by Abramovich also made payments that appeared to have benefited the owner of the club that sold 2 players to Chelsea shortly afterwards. The fortunates of Anzi Machalakala, which is now a defunct outfit in Dagestan, were previously transformed when Russian billionaire Suleiman Kerimov bought the club in 2011 and bankrolled big money transfers. But in 2013, Kerimov pulled the plug on his free spending strategy, slashed Angie's budget, plunging the club into financial turmoil, forcing a fire sale of players. That summer, Chelsea signed 2 stars from Angie in 2 days. The Cameroon striker Samuel Eto'o was the first to arrive, followed somewhat controversially by 25-year-old forward Willian. The Brazilian, who went on to win multiple trophies at Chelsea, had been on the verge of signing for London rivals Tottenham. Is the history of the Tottenham. Abramovich reportedly hijacked the deal. I remember that. Via a personal phone call to Kerimov. 2 months earlier, Abramovich-owned Leston Holdings agreed to pay 2 companies connected to Kerimov for services relating to football, including scouting and other football-related advice. Tobias Services Inc. and Furnington Investment Corp., both based in BVI's, were each paid €12 million, documents dated 10th of June 2013 suggest. A Chelsea FC spokesman said these allegations predate the club's current ownership, and they are based on documents which the club has not been shown and do not relate to any individual who is presently at the club. The spokesman said during the purchase of the club by a consortium led by US investor Todd Bowley, the buyers became aware of potentially incomplete financial reporting concerning historical transactions during the club's previous ownership. Immediately following the completion of the purchase, the club proactively self-reported these matters to the football regulators. In accordance with the club's ownership, group's core principles of full compliance and transparency, the club proactively assisted the applicable regulators with the investigations which will be ongoing. The Premier League declined to comment while the investigation is ongoing. An FA spokesman said, "We are investigating." Well done. Thanks for the update. Representatives of Roman Abramovich did not return requests for comment. Lawyers of Suleiman Kerimov did not return requests for comment. A request for comment from Bertrand and David Traore sent via Aston Villa FC went unanswered. A request for comment from top sports consulting, whose director is Zoran Lemic, also went unanswered. Right, let me just say this right now. A lot of this is may have broken, could have broken, possibly have broken the rules. Let me tell you, nothing's going to happen in this case because Abramovich ain't the owner anymore. So it's all a lot of what ifs and maybes and could haves and possiblies and oh well. So if anything does come through as, oh yes, we've investigated, Chelsea will probably just get a fine, yeah, which they'll pay over about 25 years. Nothing's going to happen in this case. And Roman Abramovich is a shrewd guy, a very wealthy businessman, and I'm sure he couldn't care less. What I want to know is when the government was put in charge of selling Chelsea Football Club, which it was because it was the UK government that put sanctions on Abramovich to get him out the club, and then they were a consortium in charge or put a panel together of people in charge to then find the right buyer for Chelsea Football Club. Why didn't they find all of this out when they were going through it? Why didn't they find everything out before the club was officially sold to Todd Bowley? Yeah, I find this a bit weird. Yeah, he's blatantly, in my opinion, done all of these things, but at the end of the day, tough is what it is. I'm sure if you dig deep into any football club in the Premier League or around the world that are a big football club, they've manufactured the books here and there, and they've got stuff in offshore accounts here and there. They've done clever accounting and got round stuff. Do it all the time. They do it all the time. But because it's Chelsea and it's Abramovich, it's a big thing. At the end of the day, nothing will happen in this situation apart from a little slap on the wrist for Chelsea Football Club. It weren't you, Todd Bowley, but there's a couple of £1 million fine. You can pay it over 10 years. That's it. Yeah, Roman's probably sat on one of his £2 billion yachts, just chilling, sitting there, sipping on a nice bit of vodka with a load of fanny running around, really. Let's just be real with it. Big up Roman. Anyway, have a wonderful evening. I will have a video coming out about the PGMOL releasing the audio from the Newcastle goal against Arsenal. Arsenal fans are still in mourning and still crying about it all these weeks later. Like, get over yourself, seriously. So keep your eyes peeled for that. What time is it now? It's 20 to 5 UK time. That'll be dropping at 7 p.m. UK time. So keep your eyes peeled for that, people. Make sure you smash the like button. Sub to the channel. Let's get this to 21.5k. And make sure you leave your comments and donations down below. I will be back again tomorrow. And all have a wonderful evening. Adios, amigos. Ciao. Bye.